If you've yet to try one of my duck dishes this year, then this is the one to try. I'm going to roast a whole duck in a rice bake. This is a delicious dish, and then everything's done in one roasting pan. So the duck's going to come into a pack like this, which means there's going to be a little bit of moisture in the pack. To get crispy skin, the key is allowing the skin to dry. So place your duck on a plate just like this, and then pop it in the fridge to air dry. So don't cover it with anything, and leave it there for 24 hours, even better 48 hours. Now before you start cooking the duck, you need to bring it out of the fridge at least 40 minutes before cooking. This will bring it to room temperature, meaning it's going to cook much more evenly. I'm also just going to trim the excess fat here. You can keep this fat and render it down, makes the best roasted potatoes, or you can just discard it. Perfect. And I'm not going to add any oil whatsoever to the duck. All I need is a little bit of salt in the cavity, rub it into the skin there. And salt is also fantastic to get crispy skin, so pop it all over the duck. A little bit of pepper if you like. And then into a tray. Again, no oil required, because as soon as this goes into the oven, the fat's going to start to render, and the fat is enough to keep this nice and glossy and also very crispy. So now I'm going to cook this in the oven, 190 degrees for 60 minutes before we get onto the rice. Okay, so this duck has been cooking for 1 hour. It looks perfect, but it needs a little bit longer in the oven. This is where it gets really interesting. So take the duck out of the pan, and you can see that we've got a pool of fat here. As I mentioned at the beginning, don't throw away duck fat because it has so much flavour. So just reserve it or strain it and then pop it in a jar, and you can use it for your roast potatoes or any type of roast vegetables. Absolutely delicious. Now just keep a little bit of the duck fat, because now we're going to pop this back on the heat. And I've just got my 2 jets on here, and then I'm going to add some onion. So this is 1 onion that I've finely sliced, and we're essentially making a rice pilaf, or baked rice. I'm wanting to just soften these onions, so just so I don't burn myself, I'll get my tea towel here and just scrape the bottom of the pan just to detach any of those caramelized bits there, because that's got so much flavour in it. Now, while that's cooking, I'm going to add 2 bay leaves in here and a cinnamon stick. 1 cinnamon stick has so much flavour. A little bit of salt on the onions, and just 3 to 4 garlic cloves. Roughly chop the garlic or slice it. That can go in. I'll give that one last stir, and as soon as you start to smell the onions caramelising, then we can add our rice. Now, I've just got standard long grain rice here, and you want to coat this rice in the duck fat and the onions. You'll see that the rice changes colour. It's a little bit glossy now. I can start to smell that cinnamon and the bay leaf. And now I'm going to deglaze with a little bit of white wine. A good sizzle on that. It's almost looking like a risotto at this stage. And by the end of it, it will look very similar to that, but a little bit more baked. It's going to have so much flavour. Now that most of the wine has evaporated and you really want that rice to absorb a lot of that liquid, we can add the next liquid, which is some crushed tomatoes. If you like, you can leave out the tomatoes and make this into a white wine rice, but I really like the tomatoes because it gives this rice a gorgeous sweetness, and the colour too looks fantastic. And the last liquid that I'm going to add into this is a little bit of duck stock. If you don't have duck stock, you can absolutely use chicken stock, vegetable stock, or keep it really simple and just use a little bit of water. And now make a little nest in the centre, so push out some of the rice from the centre so it does cook evenly. Now I'm going to place the duck back in the pan in the centre. This duck is going to go back into the oven for about 20 minutes, which gives the duck and the rice enough time to cook perfectly. have a look at this duck. I love, number one, doing one pot wonders or one baking dish wonders because the rice is there. You can see it's absorbed all of the liquid and it smells fantastic. If you haven't cooked a whole duck before, please give it a try. It's very simple to do. All you need to remember is 190 degrees for 80 minutes. The results are fantastic. And like I've said many times, if you can cook a chicken, you can definitely cook a duck. For me, this is comfort food. This is what I call ultimate sharing food.